Honorable Akol is from northern Uganda. Has he had time to sit and dialogue with them and get to understand what is going on? He has not. And that is leadership. He should do it. Not just hold a press conference and issue your own opinion. Who do you then lead? So he needs to interact with the leaders and get our opinion. Otherwise, he's likely to be misunderstood if he doesn't talk to people. And finally, when we are talking about wastage of resources, we should not apply the principle of selective memory or selective justice. If the leader of the opposition was coming up to say, I don't want to have a budget for donation, because the leader of the opposition also has a budget for donation. If you are talking about trimming and making sure you have realistic budget, you should talk about, what we consider not really very relevant. That includes the allocation to RIM in form of donation, money for donation, as he talked about it. So there are a lot of things we need to talk about, but we are concerned as leaders from northern Uganda, but this is not just all about northern Uganda. This is about the spirit Parliament is demonstrating, and we think we should support it. So that's what I wanted to add.
Thoroughly discussed issues for regions. I believe, in the last Parliament, the chairperson you saw, you had an issue where you convened the press conference. And
there is an approved budget for Parliament of Uganda. It's about 900 billion. The question I would give back to you, especially the gentleman putting on the blue tie, is that if this activity is not conducted, will the budget approved for Parliament change? It will not change. And if this activity is going to be conducted, will the budget increase? It will not increase. It's the same budget. It's a planned activity. So why is it so difficult for Parliament to have activities outside Kampala, and it's okay for Parliament to have activities only in Kampala? I think that's not being fair. Now, the question of whether this is going to solve the problem of northern Uganda, I think that's, again, amounts to being extremely sarcastic. Because, you need to look at the level of attention that this activity that will be in northern Uganda has drawn towards northern Uganda. And just like we have said, almost every committee of Parliament is in northern Uganda playing oversight role. This has never happened. Because the committees have to scatter, have to go in different directions, spreading wide and thin. But now you have an opportunity. Every committee is heading to northern Uganda. This is a rare opportunity. And for us, it's a big step forward. It's an achievement. So if you want to ask about the benefits, that is where the benefits begin from. But you can imagine 3 days talking about one part of the region. 3 days. We have never had that before. But not just talking. Taking every government infrastructure that side, paying attention so that the decisions are given more attention. So I would request you to also start to think positive, and not just probably it's going to put some cost on you, gentlemen, because you'll have to travel to Gulu. But you are part of Gulu, just like I am part of your village. And so let's accept that we are all Ugandans, and we should, exactly, we shouldn't fear going to any part of the country. As I stated at the start, LOP sits on the Business Committee of Parliament. It is the Business Committee that determines the Parliament businesses. It sits on that committee. At the start of this session, we sat to look at the businesses for this, session. Did he raise anything contrary to that? No, he didn't. So if he did not raise, is he doing it now in good faith? He had several months to talk about this. So I don't think Lop is being honest to Ugandans. And if there is a problem, he should learn to have dialogue with his colleagues. Because he's part of the leadership of parliament. He sits on the commission. If they have issues, they should sit and talk about it. But you know, if you cannot talk to your colleagues and you want to run every time on media and think you can sway Ugandans in the manner you need, that is the highest level of dishonesty. But it is also malicious, and he needs to understand that. I join my colleagues in airing my views and concerns in response to the statements issued by the leader of opposition, Honorable Joel Ssenyonyi. There are two allegations he raises as a basis for his call for boycott. Number one, he says Parliament is going to spend 5 billion in each region, and that would total up to 20 billion. And he says that is a waste of taxpayers' money. He goes on to say that the money Parliament wants to waste should be spent on committee activities and others. I want to respond to that before I touch on the other one. Number one is that the leader of opposition is not only misinforming the population, but I think his intention is to sabotage the regional meeting. Because he knows that this is an activity that is planned for and budgeted for and is not going to attract or draw any other money